The independent rep model has always been relationship driven, but today it's capital intensive, complex, and evolving faster than ever. From showrooms to staffing to succession planning and manufacturer expectations, reps are being asked to do more than ever before. My guest today isn't guessing about the future, he's living it. With multiple showrooms, decades of experiences, and a clear point of view on what it takes to stay relevant, competitive, and valuable, this conversation goes deep into what's working, what's broken, and what comes next for independent reps. We'd like to thank our presenting gold sponsors. Avanto, transforming your workflow from design to cash without the chaos. And the Collaborative Network, a platform where leaders in the contract interiors industry unite.
Is your team overloaded? Avanto helps teams save time and money by using AI to handle daily work from order management and AP processing to task handling without adding headcount. It works inside the tools you already use, with no new dashboards to manage. Go to goavanto.com to see how we can run your daily operations.
Welcome to the Trend Report, your inside look at the people, products, and ideas shaping the future of workplace design. I'm your host, Sid Meadows, and I'm excited to be joined today by Ed Eisaman, the principal of Eisaman Contract. Ed is a multi-market rep firm with showrooms in Pittsburgh, Buffalo, and Manhattan, and he's been thinking deeply about the evolution of the independent rep role, the investments required to compete, and how reps, dealers, and manufacturers can build stronger partnerships moving forward. This is going to be a real conversation with some real thoughts. Welcome, Ed. It's great to have you on the show.
Great to be here, Sid. I always love spending time with you, my friend.
Oh, well, thank you. So we met years ago, I don't know how many years ago, when I was at AIS. You became an AIS rep, and you've been there as one of their leading reps for a really long time now. And so that's how we got connected. And you came into the Collaborative Network a few weeks ago and talked to our sales leaders about independent rep model and the importance of it and the evolution of it. And I thought, this is a really great conversation, and we're going to bring it to the podcast because you guys play a pivotal role in our industry.
Well, I tell you, I'm so happy you're focused a little bit on the independent reps. We're excited to be having this topic, to say the least.
So you have I think you told me, third generation family business?
Third generation. My grandfather was a dealer back in the 50s and 60s and 40s, 50s and 60s. This is back when the Royal typewriters were the main product category. But he sold, I'll date some people, he sold Yaman and Irby desk, which was the precursor to Steelcase,
oh, wow.
Believe it or not, back in the day, old Battleship Gray desk. And then my father actually worked for KI, Kruger at the time, before it became KI, and worked for Bill Corbett's seniors group back in the 60s and 70s. So, So it's in my blood, my friend.
And so did your dad start the independent rep group, or did you say, okay, I'm going to follow into the industry and I'm going to start an independent rep group?
He started it. He started it back in 1980.
Okay.
And I joined him in 89 after a couple of years in the Xerox, and he told me how wonderful it was. And remember, I took a cut in pay, and I joined him, and it turned out to be the best decision of my life. One of the best decisions of my life, but certainly my career.
Truly a family business because your sister is involved in it, right? And your brother is involved, but now he's in Carolina at a different rep group, right?
He's at PSA with Bill Wilson and covering South Carolina for him. Yeah.
Okay. That's great. So what does it feel like? What is it like working with your family on a regular basis, on a daily basis, actually?
My sister, I mean, she's amazing. So it's to answer your question shortly, it's great. I mean, we're a family that anybody knows the Eisamans knows we are emotional on our sleeves. And, you know, if we have to get anything out, we get it out, and then we get over it and we hug and kiss and move on. So it's been certainly a great relationship with her. And it's been awesome to watch her and her family grow in this industry. And she does a great job for us in Western New York. She manages the Western New York territory and out of our Buffalo showroom.
Yeah, which is impressive that you have a showroom in Buffalo, New York. It's not a marketplace where you think about independent reps putting showrooms. You got one in Pittsburgh and then a new one in Manhattan, because you do cover, for some of your lines, you cover part of New York. Mm-hmm. So, Ed, is this showroom strategy important to independent reps? And if so, why?
I think it's massive. We've been very fortunate. You know, the Pittsburgh showroom was the first real investment in the downtown Pittsburgh showroom. We had one out in the suburbs a while ago, but it paid for itself literally within 5 years with revenue growth. My wife and I bought it. I bought the building, and it worked so well for us. We did the same thing in Buffalo, New York. When Buffalo is near and dear to my heart, I went to college there, and just some of the best people in the world. So we made that investment in that market, and that's done extremely well for us as well. And now we've evolved it into Manhattan, in the New York City area with a few of our product lines there. So I'm a big believer in it. Just, it's a place where people can come in a relaxed, controlled setting and see product. And it's been amazing to watch how they come for a certain reason. And when they're here, they see other things. Oh, I didn't know you did signage. I didn't know you did your raised flooring. I didn't know you did, white noise. And before you know it, you're solving a multitude of products.
Yeah.
And it just grows exponentially. Our goal used to be 10% of every project. Now it's 25, 30%, in some cases more, depending on the dealer partner we're involved with. But I'm a big believer in it.
So they get to come to your showroom, they get to experience the Eisaman way, if you will, and they get to see all the various products that you represent, not all of them, but a good selection of them in applications. And so they come in to look at a workstation from AIS, and they leave with 4 or 5 other ideas to put into their project. So you've actually, because of your investment in the showroom, you've expanded your opportunity to increase the sale with other product lines.
100%. The vertical selling is a big part of, quite frankly, it's a big part of what we do. I think it's a big part of what the dealer communities are doing. But for us to be able to offer those services to our dealer partners and A&D partners, and we had an architect come in here today, and again, their whole point was to come and look at the demountable wall. And while they were here, they fell in love with the JSI lounge piece. And we've now got that setting. They were looking to use another product line at the time. So and then we got into dining, or their quote unquote admin dining area. And they used Palmer Hamilton, another one of our product lines they saw. So, these are all, it's such a visual industry, and it's such a physical industry. Physically, they want to touch and feel. But more importantly, they don't have time to go see. If you could be one supplier and supply a lot of these tertiary applications and ancillary spaces, the more power you're going to be on the whole project.
Sure. And where you are in Pittsburgh and Buffalo, New York, is not a mecca for showrooms like Chicago or maybe High Point, North Carolina, or New York, where there are showrooms everywhere. You're putting them in middle America for all practical purposes, and people are coming to see them and experience, and it's paying off. So, Ed, if you have an opinion on this, why do you feel that a lot of reps don't want to lean into the showroom strategy? Obviously, it's worked for you.
It had. I think a lot of it's cost. But the future of the rep model is so important to me. And I'm always trying to explain to them that it's an investment, but it does, if you do it well and you use it the way it's designed and not, as a storage facility, it'll pay massive dividends for you. And I'll share this with you from a net worth standpoint. We own the buildings.
Sure.
So, if you do have a bad month, you don't pay yourself rent that month. So you can get through it, but you're paying yourself rent. Years ago, I ran into Frank Cass, who most people know is a legend of the industry. He's the one that founded Continental. And he said, Ed, I don't believe in renting. And I was probably 25, 26 years old. And I was in this location and I'll never forgot that. And I've used that in, the real estate end of our business. And this paid huge dividends.
Because that's an investment. Real estate is an investment, and 100%. It grows with you over time. But I want to go back for just a minute. You mentioned something that I don't want to skip over, which was, you referred to it as vertical selling. What does that mean to you? And explain to us what that is.
Well, as you know, it basically is top-down selling throughout the entire space. So there might be a certain product category that's driving their interest predominantly. And then while you're in that conversation, we all know, because we're experienced, there's plenty of other products that they're going to need in that building.
Yeah.
One of the things that frustrates me is we do a pretty decent number with signage. And I'm amazed at how few of our dealer partners and even other reps get involved in signage. They let it go to the contractor, the general contractor. And I'm thinking, this is the only thing by law you have to have to get an occupancy permit in your space. And here we let that business go. So, that's a kind of a process of how we get more vertical. And then we have an architectural division of our rep group, which is really driving a ton of our conventional FF&E, because you're involved in the project so early.
Yep. Way before the normal furniture process.
It's powerful. Every rep group should look into architectural products.
And when you say architectural, that was about to say, what are the product categories that fit into architectural?
Certainly architectural demountable wall systems, casework, raised flooring. I put white noise into it. Signage, obviously. These all are part of the building that are attached. They don't hold the building up, obviously, but they make the building more functional. And, that falls into the architectural side of the specifications, which is, preliminary to the FF&E side, which feeds us.
Which basically preliminary means it's 12, 18, sometimes 24 months before they ever get to the furniture aspect. So now you're involved in the process selling the architectural product. So you know the project's coming. You kind of know the timeline because you've been involved in the other aspects of it. So you know when to start being a pest, if you will, about the FF&E package.
It's so powerful. I mean, it's so powerful. And like you said, in worst case, if you don't get that portion of the quote unquote architectural products, you find a lead for furniture. They're going to put furniture in headspace at some point.
Now, Ed, do you have a specialist that is an FF&E specialist in your marketplace, or do you ask your reps to be, generalist in all the categories?
We've cross-trained all of our people that they can be specialists in that world.
Okay.
And we've been in it a long time. I've been selling demountable wall systems since we go back to the Trenwall days when they were around. So we're back in the early 90s.
Yep.
We've been in love with that market for that kind of time. And now we got multiple manufacturers getting involved in casework and JSIs and healthcare casework, AISs and conventional casework. So it's opened up a ton of doors for us.
Well, and I will say, as a voice of experience here, there are a lot of manufacturers looking for reps in all categories inside of our industry, whether it's in the architectural side or the FF&E side. If you are an independent rep and you're looking to expand your portfolio and you want to look at architectural products, there are manufacturers looking for reps. So I think the opportunity is there for you to get it. So with this strategy, you needed to look at how your business could grow and expand. And that correlated to people growth. So tell us about how your organization is set up and the type of services that you're offering to your predominant customer today, which is the dealer customer.
Well, all of our employees are W-2. They are employees. We pay a salary and a bonus.
Good for you. That's different than most independent reps.
It is. I think it's important for our perspective. They kind of teach them the Eisaman way and they understand the culture. And it just, to me, it makes a ton of sense. And then we've got support staff that, I got a full-time marketing person that handles all of our digital marketing aspect. And we do it kind of sounds dated when I say an email, but it's an image-based. It's, send 3 a week out, one to the dealers, which is about almost a 45%. We're a little under 45% open rate. We send one to the A&D community, a separate one. Again, they're all image, keep the verbiage as little as possible. So we call it the green light newsletter. As long as we're waiting for the light to turn green, they can scroll through and check out our images that we're focusing on that week. And then we have one to the end users. We do that once a month, the commercial real estate end users. But,
So you got 5 sellers, you got a marketing person. Do you have a designer on your staff?
Well, we do have 2. One of our support staff is a full-time designer, and she also handles a little bit customer support. But we've got multiple CET licenses and project spec licenses. So we understand, the margins have been squeezed, right? I mean, that's why the vertical selling is so important. And some of our real good dealer partners are paying attention to that, and they're selling more vertical as well. And our ancillary products are generally, we like to think they come to us a lot for that. And then we where everything else fits. But because of the tight margins, with the more support as rep organization we can give them, the more important we're going to be to them. So I bet as a firm, we average about 800 and 900 emails a day. Yeah, it's amazing when you think of that, with all the people on the street selling for us and then our in-house staff. So every one of those is for some reason, some are duplications, but bottom line is, okay, Ed, I need a quick price on this. How quick can we get that to ship? Can you do a quick rendering? So we have staff that has the capability of firing out a CET rendering fairly quickly. So those services have become extremely important to our dealer partners, how quick we can provide those quotes to them.
So what's happening here is a shift that a lot of times in the past, the dealer would do the specification. They would call you and say, Ed, I need 10 chairs for this project. And you'd say, hey, I'm going to use this chair, whatever, right? I'm simplifying it for sake of time here. Mm-hmm. And then they would go and spec it and price it and all that. But the demand on the dealer is increasing, which means the demand on you is increasing. The margin for the dealer is decreasing because of the competitive nature of our marketplace at current times. And so the dealers, and this is not just in your area, I hear from reps all across the country that this is happening. The dealer is calling and saying, hey, here's a floor plan. I don't have time to do all this. I got to plug in the workstations or whatever from my major brand. Here's the rest of it. Put your stuff in, send it back to me, give me a price. So you're doing that. You're drawing in the tools that they know how to draw in CET. You're specifying it. If you know the finishes, you're putting the finishes on it. You're giving the list price and you're giving the discount and you're sending it back to the dealer. So you just made the dealer's life a lot easier. But the cost of that burden shifted from the dealer to you. And the only way you recover your cost is if that sale actually goes through, right?
100%. Yeah.
So
100%.
That's risky. for people.
It is. It is. Yep. And then we put under the cost of doing business model, but we're fortunate because we've been doing this a long time, and the dealers they're coming to us a lot to make it work. The scale works for us. Obviously, we pay attention. We call them touches. We pay attention to, things that we don't win and why we didn't win. But what's interesting, we're pretty fortunate. I can't, I'd say less than 15, 20% what we quote doesn't turn into an order. We probably close 80 to 85% of all the jobs we quote, which is kind of a crazy thing.
That's not a bad ratio. That's not a bad ratio.
I mean, not at all. I mean, and what's nice too is when they call us, they say, I'm also looking for that customer reception center. Do you know anybody that does it? Well, yeah. I mean, by the way, when I was in your showroom, I noticed you had that power solution, that raised floor. Give me an idea what the budget is on that. We have sound problems we're hearing, so that opportunity for that quote of those 10 chairs turns into other things because that dealer is trying to do the exact same thing we are. And they know they can come to us because we have the product solutions that can help them. And I tell them that the best compliment they can ever provide Eisaman Contract is, if you can't find something, call Ed.
Yeah.
Call Judy, call Mike,
right.
And if we don't have it, we can direct them to the place that does. Be that resource to them.
Be a true partner to them and
100%,
directing them to the right place. So Ed, what is it that you feel like that manufacturers today need to understand about the evolution of the independent rep model that they don't understand currently?
It's interesting. I think it's getting better, but I think some manufacturers don't really understand the true cost structure of a rep organization. What it really costs to run the organization.
Yep.
And when I got in this industry, our average commissions were 9-10%. We're at 6.7 as our average commission right now, and it's dropping. So that's one of the reasons we have to sell more vertical. We have to capture more. Our cost to sell has to improve to continue to provide these services. But most of the better manufacturers, they realize, we're talking that for our partners, we're fortunate because they understand what we do, and all of them have been to our showrooms and seen how we staff up and the money we spend. And I'm very open about it. I mean, I said, here's our average commission revenues a month. Here's our average, costs a month. And you don't have to go to Wharton School of Business to see where that would fall. And, I think they appreciate the fact that it's just not that when they send that commission check, it's just not going into Ed Eisaman's pocket. That's our gross revenue.
Mm-hmm. My takeaway there is transparency. Be transparent
100%.
with them.
Yep.
But I also think that manufacturers need to understand, and I want your thoughts on this, please, that the relationship between the factory, the manufacturer, and the independent rep should be a partnership and not a you work for me thing. This should be a partnership. Mm-hmm. And the more that it is an effective partnership, the better the relationship will be, the more sales that will happen, the more things you can actually accomplish together on all aspects of it.
Yeah, I'm fortunate because the partners I work with, they all get it, and they're phenomenal. I'll argue we represent the best product lines in the industry in their categories. That being said, I think the rep model is, to me, it's the best model to go to market with. Yeah. Because you have if you find a good rep organization, they're involved in almost every opportunity to some degree, and no offense to direct reps, but sometimes, they only have a few things to talk about, and you can only go to the well so many times before a dealer gets annoyed. Yeah. So we can literally talk to our same dealer partner every week and have something new to talk to them about. And keep relevant. And I go back to the COVID days where, a lot of people had to sit at home. We were so busy during COVID because everybody pivoted to remember the divider screens, and, we had a couple of factories do a great job. Fluid Concepts did a fantastic job. They had a mitigating COVID program that opened up a ton of doors, but the independent reps, the good ones, they are involved in many facets of the sales influencer, whoever they may be. Yep. And because you have so many relevant products to, again, make that space better for that particular decision maker.
We'd like to thank our supporting silver sponsors, KISP, who helps furniture brands visualize and sell products before specification. Navitas Credit Corp. Navitas makes great workspaces affordable, turning furniture projects into easy monthly payments. Web Configurator Services, the leader in AI-powered online product configuration and quoting. Selling contract furniture is getting harder. You're dealing with complex products, disconnected tools, and buyers who make decisions before you ever get to spec. KISP helps fix that with clean product data, visual sales tools, and expert visualization services built for the way furniture actually gets sold. Backed by 30 years of experience, KISP helps dealers and manufacturers visualize, configure, and get chosen early before specification ever starts. To learn more, visit kisp.com. So you've said in the past that the bar has to be raised for reps. What does that mean?
Well, we got to get out of the house. I think it's important to have a location. I know some people invest in their business, mobile carts or mobile showrooms, which I think are great.
Those are fun, actually.
They really
I
are.
enjoy seeing those.
Reinvest in their business. I mean, CET and design support is important. Have that capability. So factories look at that, where who's going to represent their product the best way, and is my commission dollars going to the best use to continue to grow that particular manufacturer in that particular market.
Yep.
So providing these services is critical, and I think we pay attention to that. We want all of our manufacturer partners to know that their money is looking to expand their business. Everything we do, decision I make, is how do we grow our manufacturer partners' volume, which obviously grows our volume.
That grows your volume too.
Yeah.
So on that note, I mean, we talk about pricing pressures and pressures on the dealer and margin pressures. Those same things exist on you, because every time there's a special discount given on a project, first place they come is to you to reduce your commission. And so when you think about this, like, those pressures continue to be a challenge on the dealer side and on your side. How should manufacturers start to think differently about compensation to independent reps?
Well, I base everything on performance. I've always been an outcome-based guy. So, it's all about growth. I always tell everybody, if you stay the same, it's, 2 or 3 things happen every year. You'd stay the same, shrink, or grow. 2 of them are bad. You got to continue to grow. Some cases it might only be 3%. Some cases it might be 30%, but you got to continue to find ways to grow. And adding value to your business will do that, whether it be digital marketing, whether it be more participation in trade shows, whether it be showrooms, expanding showrooms, mobile showrooms. These are all things I think manufacturers look at and say, boy, that's the best use of my 7 or 8 or 9% commission. Is look what this guy's, look at this firm, his organization's doing. And I worry. I've talked to my close manufacturer rep friends, and I said, we got to worry about the next generation. I mean, we got to make sure the rep model continues to be relevant in the manufacturer's eyes. So I'm always trying to, build the rep brand. And I think designers are the greatest opportunity to join our profession. To come to your side of
the table, basically.
Yeah. I mean, well, first of all, young designers in general, I think, are the future of our industry. Those are the ones that are joining dealerships and they're starting out maybe in design, and if they have an aptitude for sales and marketing, and I know sales is a bad word, but I call it influence or advocate, and they like that word better, but they have a tremendous opportunity. I probably 3 or 4 times a year, I go to some of our lead design schools in our territory, states and they have vendor days, and I sit there and I always have a fun time with it, because you see these, they all want to be the next Frank Lloyd Wright and Michael Graves. And I say, hey, who here's interested in sales? Oh my God. Oh, no, I can never. And I said, boy, you just did a good job selling me on the fact you could never. And I said, what do you think you do when you take your design and your space plan to your client? I said, you're influencing their thoughts on that space. I said, that's, forget the sales word. That's a bad word. I get it. But boy, if they have an aptitude to sell with a design degree, my gosh, the sky's the limit.
Sure.
As a rep, the sky is the limit.
Yeah, I think they come with a little bit more trust, if you will. Their credentials give them a little bit of that, and that elevates them, I think. And typical designers, even with a aptitude for sales, they're not, I hate this word, they're not salesy. I'm air quoting. They're not salesy, as a lot of salespeople can be salesy, which is what's given us a bad rap, which I don't think we've earned it. Right. But it is an important thing. Do we need more young people coming into all different aspects of our industry? So when you think about directly to the manufacturer and changing compensation and not always reducing your commission structure, what I'm hearing you say is alternative things like contribution to the showroom, bonus structures based on growth, how you're growing the business. These are all things that contribute to your bottom line, because yes, you have a bottom line. You have all these employees, you have all this real estate that you're having to pay for on a regular basis. And you rely on the sale, because you don't get paid until you sell something and the customer, in the case of the dealer, actually pays that bill.
100%. I mean, look, at the end of the day, that's the sales what we're all driving. But the growth model, and most of our manufacturers have it, they have a bonus structure based on that. And that's part of our negotiations when we interview for a product line. Or, we're on a couple rep councils for our factories, and they listen. I mean, they listen. And again, they know that that's going to get mind share from you.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Correct.
And it's going to help you build, build your business with just the things you talked about.
So, a lot of people in our industry look like me and you, really good looking, handsome, young, 60-something-year-old man with glasses and gray hair, right?
100%.
Yeah. But, our industry, we struggle to attract new and young people to it. Yeah. And we explicitly, in my opinion, struggle to attract people to the independent rep model. And that's because of the cost of entry to becoming an independent rep.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you don't get paid until you've sold something and that customer pays their bill, which could be 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Are there things that we could be thinking about as an industry that would open the door for more independent reps? Because let's be clear, we need more independent reps. Mm-hmm. There are not enough of you. There are not enough good ones like you out there for all the brands that are currently looking for representation today.
Yeah.
So what can we do to bring people into your side of the table, Ed?
Well, look, there's a couple ways to do it, right? I mean, quite frankly, the easiest way, you could take some of the leading rep groups in every market, and a lot look like me. I'm 60 years old.
Yep.
I've got 3 kids. None of them are interested in the business. But I saw that. So I've got, I hired a young vice president of sales, Michael Sharp, who's fantastic, well-respected, 16 years on the dealer side. And he's been great. He has the interest in buying a business down the road. My wife says, when are you going to retire? I said, retire. I said, my dad had the greatest definition of retirement, and that was doing what you want to do when you want to do it. Mm-hmm. I love the business. I still love the look, as you know, Sid, that's why we're talking. I mean, these relationships are 35, 40 years. These are some of my best friends, our dealer partners, our architectural partners, our commercial real estate partners. I'd hang out with these people anyway.
Sure.
And as you know, the older you get in this business, the easier it gets. There's nothing that really surprises us anymore.
Yeah.
So I look at some young people, and he's 44, and I've hired a couple people in the last 6 months, and they're all in their 35 or younger. So we know that's the future of the business. At the end of the day, who better to talk about the future of a space to try to draw people into it, whether it be a commercial office, whether it be hospitality, whether it be education, is somebody younger. Well,
right.
Nobody but senior. No, they're building senior citizens homes for people like me and us, but the younger
Leave
people,
me
they
out
have
of that.
that.
Okay.
Well, please, yeah. The younger people have a lot that they know what would interest them. So why not talk about it? But so I think that's a great way for them down there to start planning. Most of them already are. If they're not, there should be. And
succession planning, super important. And a lot of our industry is not necessarily focused on it. Doesn't have it necessarily. Yeah. I'm generalizing. So if you have a succession plan, don't get mad because I said that. But I think also the role here is mentorship. Like, how could you help someone that expresses a desire to want to get into your side of the table, right? Mm-hmm. Into the independent rep world? What's the role you could play at helping them understand what they need to do and how they need to do it, right? And I think that's really important.
Yeah, it is. And I think, I think some manufacturers are looking at that too. If some young person wants to start their own rep group, they help with programs to help finance it. They might do some guarantees for a while to help them. I always tell anybody starting out, give yourself 6 months of zero income.
Yep.
If you can get through 6 months of zero income, it'll start to come in about 6 months, 7 months. If you're working every day, you'll see it. And then once you get through that tough spot, you keep working, it just keeps building and building and building.
Well, I think one of the things you said there that I think is really important is creativity. And be creative as to how you approach your manufacturers, as to how they could help prop you up, help you get started, seed funding, whatever you want to call it. Like your partner manufacturers, what role could they play in that? Like you said, to give you a guarantee for 6 months and then work on the back end to do things later. I think if you can be creative in how you have those conversations, if you have a desire to be an independent rep, which is a lot of fun, a lot of freedom, you get to travel, you get to meet a lot of different people. It's a very important role inside of our industry that is not going away. I think it's evolving, but it's not going away. If you have this desire, you can find a great mentor like Ed here, and talk to your potential brands about what could they do to help you get started. I think that's just a couple of really good action steps.
For sure. And again, find an experienced rep and spend time with them. Go to lunch, go to dinner, talk to them. I've talked to a few of my peers about, again, we've all made good livings in this business, and we wanted to continue this particular role in our industry. And, don't be selfish, talk to them, spend time with them, be open about the good and bad, some of the challenges in this. And there are some tough times.
They need to go into it with their eyes wide open.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But it is incumbent upon us, I believe, for those of us that have had amazing careers in this industry, 30 plus years, and doing the things that we love to do. Now is the time for us to give back. Now is the time for us to reach behind us and help those people coming up behind us, because somebody's going to take your place. It's not the fact somebody's going to take my place. It's not the fact that they're going to be our competitor. It's the fact that you are empowering the next generation of people in an industry that has given so much to us. And I think we have an obligation to give back to the people coming up behind us.
That is so well said. And it's so true. I mean, it's a great business. I always tell people it's the last great relationship industry. I mean, I tell people, I said, I remember years ago, they tried to, they're going to get replaced by the computer. And I said, you still have to make the common call. You still have to go to the space. You still have to talk to people. And that's what makes this industry so wonderful.
And if you're really into the furniture world, you're going to walk through a lobby somewhere and turn over a chair and look at the bottom of who made it.
That's when you know you made it, or you've crossed over to the crazy side.
Yeah. See, you want that. Like, who made that? Do I want to pick up the product? Oh, that's actually really cool stuff. Cool. Yeah.
Start taking pictures of it.
That's right. So let's start to wrap up here for a second, because I know you got lots to do, and I appreciate you joining me today. Looking ahead, 5 to 10 years down the road, what does a successful independent rep firm look like to you?
Well, to me, it's a standalone business. Ideally, a showroom, whether they own it or rent it, what doesn't matter. Have a place that's a controlled setting. Mobile showroom maybe. You got to get products to the client. You got to get it there. Now, I'm in a market where if I sold chainsaws, I'd be a billionaire. We have a lot of space between Pittsburgh and Buffalo and Rochester and Syracuse and Charleston, West Virginia. But you have to be there. You have to show up, and so have the ability to do that. If you have a central location or have a mobile showroom, be strategic in your partners, and you're going to have staff. I mean, you're going to have to bring people on where, your greatest talent is to be consultative, to be out with your clients, whoever the influencers are, but you're going to need somebody that's going to, be available to pick a quick email up, take a phone call, get you the information. And then from there, it'll just it'll grow. If you can you're fortunate enough to get those couple things initially, not necessarily right out of the gate, but once you get to the point where you've got positive cash flow, I think that'll say a lot, and that'll put you at a different level when manufacturers are looking in your market for good rep organization. That'll separate you.
I think another thing I would add to that, thank you for sharing that. Another thing I would add to that is, how can you leverage technology? How can you leverage technology to help you do things faster, to help you show up where you need to show up, when you need to show up, and to really be able to respond, be out in the field, go into those dealers, and then, being able to use technology to do other things. But it's also about tracking your business. And today there's so much more technology available to people than when we started.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I take it as a given now. I mean, you've got to be relevant from a technological standpoint, and use digital marketing and social media, and it's paramount. Like I said, we've been very successful with the newsletter. So social media is something we use and we pay attention to, but we're fortunate enough that we have over 3,000 people in our database, and we have that open rate I talked about earlier. So we don't have to go out to social media sometimes where maybe your competitors might see that, hey, so-and-so just did an auditorium job at University of Pittsburgh. So I'm a little leery of that sometimes, but you have to be relevant. Technologically, it has to be something you pay attention to.
And I also think you don't need to lose sight of the core of what you said a few minutes ago, which is relationships. We're a relationship business, and you got to build relationships with people. And we know it can be hard. We know that there's a 30-year relationship with that in a dealer principal. That doesn't mean you can't have a relationship with that person, right? It doesn't mean you can't get to that designer. Maybe a little harder to get to it, but I love seeing some of the creative things that I see the younger generation doing to open the door to relationship building. I love I see some reps doing yoga, which I think is fantastic, right? And bringing young designers in to do yoga. I see them hosting, wreath making things at Christmas time, right? All of that is about relationship building. None of that is about selling a piece of furniture.
Yeah, the word sell, I mean, you and I use it. We have to use it because we know what it is, but we're it's consultative now. I mean, it really, you don't even, it's almost an assumptive close. You have the ability to recognize where a product might make sense, and then you can explain why, but the networking part of it, the relationship building part of it is so much fun. You said some of the creative things people are doing now. Some of my actually, we're hosting in Albany tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow, Thursday. Kim Hansen, our new rep, is hosting a function. She's got 18 or 19 designers showing up for it. And it's I think they're going to build bracelets. I
love it.
Yeah. It's
cool.
It's
Valentine's. That's kind of appropriate. Yeah.
Exactly. It's just,
close to Valentine's.
Yeah. It's just, they're showing up for it. We're paying for it. And it's awesome. It's fun to watch. It's exhilarating for me to see the young people enjoy it, have fun with it, laugh. I mean, so to me, I'm always been a rising tide raises all ships guy. Yep. Even our own market. I mean, I've got some of my best friends are our competitors. I respect them so much. And, like I said, we're in this crazy thing together and we share ideas and it seems to work.
And you're a perfect example of what I refer to as co-opetition. There's no reason that we can't work together because you're right. A rising tide lifts all ships and there's enough business out there for all of us. So let's work together, right? Yeah. Let's work together to uplift our industry, to make our industry better, to bring more people to it. So with that, Ed, I'd like to ask you one final question. You could leave our listeners today with one challenge or one mindset shift or one idea to think differently about the role of an independent rep. What would that be?
Well, there's a lot come to mind, but the biggest thing is be present, be available, and, get out there, spend time with them, go make the call. Sometimes we rely too much on technology to do our work for us, but go see them, go sit down with them. And it's amazing where that relationship will take you.
So I'm going to add to that and reframe it just a little bit, which is if you're a dealer salesperson, you're an interior designer, you're a real estate broker, and a new independent rep or a young independent rep calls you, take the call, sit down with them, get to know them. They have a job to do just like you have a job to do. And it's not just another salesperson coming to knock on your door. They're trying to do their job too. So our industry is built on relationships, and relationships don't start and don't develop if you don't take the first step. So take the call, right?
Great advice.
Take the call.
I mean, it elevates the industry, my friend.
Yes, sir. And I cannot thank you enough for being here. I mean, this has been a great conversation. I always appreciate your honest approach to things and you sharing your experience, your perspective. I mean, you certainly are leading the way and helping to raise the bar in our industry. So thank you very much for joining us today, Ed. And if our community would like to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
The email's great, but they can all feel free to call me at my cell phone or 412-427-3813. I'd love to talk to anybody considering being a rep and love to give any insight and any assistance I could provide for them.
Well, Ed, we appreciate that. No, thank you, man. We'll drop all that down in the show notes along with his website. So you can go check out what he's doing. And Ed is a recognizable figure. So if you see him around the halls or you hear him around the halls with this Pittsburgh accent, be sure you stop and let him know. And we'll put his LinkedIn profile and all that down there and let him know that you heard him here on the Trend Report. And that's why you're reaching out. So thank you again, Ed. We'd like to thank our community bronze sponsors, Catalyst Consulting Group, Receipt, and Staffing Plus. Thank you, the listener, for joining us today on the Trend Report, your inside look at the people, products, and ideas shaping the future of workplace design. We'll see you in the next episode. Go out there to make today great, everyone. Take care.